Later on, we're going to start off, of course, talking about Chelsea. What a massive game they've got tonight. It's live on talkSPORT. Fulham take on Chelsea. Graeme Potter's come out and said that the Chelsea job is the hardest job in world football. What do you make? In fact, if you haven't heard that, have a listen, because it's a massive game tonight. It's live on talkSPORT, as I mentioned. This is Graeme Potter saying that managing Chelsea is, as I've just said, the hardest job in football.
I understood that was going to be really difficult. People talk that it's about... I just thought from a leadership perspective, it's fascinating and challenging and stimulating and ridiculously hard. I mean, I think this is probably the hardest job in football because of that leadership change and because of the expectations and because of rightly where people see Chelsea.
Is it the hardest job in football?
I'm kind of torn because I think it's a very difficult job, but I always felt like, certainly under the Abramovich kind of reign, it almost felt like it was an incredibly hard job, but a very simple job. You either win something or you're gone. So in black and white, it's not like where there was any kind of thought of, right, let's take the club forward, let's try and stick with the manager, progress a little bit, try and integrate some of the youth players. No, none of that. You either win us a trophy, be successful, or you're gone. So in that element, it's kind of like, well, I know what I've got to do. If I come to this football club, and we've seen managers at Chelsea win high-profile trophies and get sacked. I know Di Matteo was a stopgap, you think, so that one's irrelevant, even though he did win the Champions League. But I go back to like Ancelotti. He won the double. And the following season, and even I was having just a quick look, brow, at his last kind of 6 games in charge, right?
Who's?
Ancelotti's at Chelsea.
Yeah.
So maybe he got the sack.
He did the double the year before. Right?
Yeah. He lost 1-2 to Everton. He drew 2-2 with Newcastle. He lost to United 2-1. Before that, he'd won the previous 5.
That's nuts, right?
He'd won the previous 5.
Well, Chelsea have had 16 managers since the year 2000, and Ranieri, bizarrely, is the youngest. Doing what you do, is the longest, just under 4 years, which is quite incredible. So it's longer than Jose's been at Chelsea for either stint. I just wonder, when he says the hardest job in football, if you go surely to any top club, Liverpool, Manchester United, Chelsea, Man City, if you start losing games, you're going to get the sack, right? It's all the same. I don't see the Chelsea job as a harder job than Manchester United.
No, I think...
in fact, I'd even say Manchester United's a harder job than Chelsea because the club's so much bigger, the expectation levels are higher.
No, but...
they are.
No, but it's kind of different because we don't know what the new Chelsea is going to be like compared to the old one. If you're a manager, at least at Manchester United, give them their due, they'll give you a little bit of time. I mean, Jose won a couple of trophies, but he got given time.
David Moyes didn't get time.
Yeah, but following Fergie's, it's
no, I know.
It's impossible.
But what I'm saying is, I don't necessarily think the Chelsea job is harder than Manchester United.
Well, no, but I think you'd be given more time at United. I know you've got to get results pretty much straight away, but with Roman, he was so I don't know if you use the
trigger happy.
I wasn't going to use cutthroat. I don't even know if I can use that.
You can use cutthroat.
Yeah, he was so cutthroat that as a manager, you know full well that if I don't win something, I'm out the door.
Even if you do win something, you're going out the door.
Exactly. So you might finish second under Roman, Abramovich era, and get sacked. And Manchester United, it's a good result. So maybe it will change now. But I can understand from Graeme Potter's, he's saying it's the hardest job in the world. But you got to think for 20 years, and again, this is no disrespect to Chelsea or their supporters, father, but they've been spoilt for the last 20 years. What they were doing, hiring and firing, has brought them unbelievable success in the last 20 years. They've won every trophy there is to win multiple times. But I'm not quite sure there's going to be this new Chelsea.
Is there a result that gets Graeme Potter sacked tonight?
Well, I think if they get beat 3-0, I'm not saying he gets a sack, but the fans will be on his back, so the board might have to make a decision.
Do you think so? So they've got the Champions League football returns. They've got Dortmund next month, I think it is. Do you think that if they're going to make a decision, it's got to be sooner rather than later? The last thing you want is a new manager coming in and trying to get a team ready that he doesn't really know for a Champions League match.
No, they'll just throw Chelsea, if they don't think Graeme Potter's the right man, they'll have someone in mind who they'll just throw in. They'll go and get a big name.
But then doesn't that go against everything Todd Boehly's come out and
said?
A
little bit, but he's tried to go against the mould. He's tried to go and get somebody who's an up-and-coming manager who is expected to do really good things. So they've taken a punt. So they've done it a bit differently. But if this doesn't work, even though they've tried something new, if this doesn't work, then they might go, well, we need to go and get someone who's available.
Is Todd Boehly responsible at all for the players that have come into the club? The amount he has spent since he's been at Chelsea just shy of £400 million.
Recruitment's an issue for Chelsea, but then that started before Todd Boehly got there because they've had a long line, a succession of play, even back to the last year at Roman. Lukaku, 90 million, didn't work. Do you know what I mean? They've spent money, the big money in the past. So I think Todd Boehly's put his hand in his pocket, he's backed the manager. But if this doesn't work or isn't successful, which is why I think he'll give him a little bit longer, then they might revert back to type. And if you talk about reverting back to type, that's not Pochettino. Because when you talk about reverting back to type, you talk about a manager that wins big trophies.
Okay. Last question. Any Chelsea fans watching tonight that will want their side to lose?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
I think you get that in every single club. A supporter that doesn't like the manager and thinks, if we lose tonight and he's gone, I'll be happy.
No. I don't think you want... They don't want their side to get beat to Fulham. No.
Okay.
3 points is more important.
talkSPORT Drive with Andy Goldstein. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.